Good morning all, how are you all doing? So it is early in the morning Thursday, and I thought I'd just kind of like check up on what's going on with this variant 8 malark, because it is just an absolute, poop show, if anything, with it. This is going to be one of the worst variants since variant 1. I can't believe I'm using that in the same sentence. With 8 variants that have been added in, say like, there's been some that have just been, there's been 2 that have been absolute scuff. Blows my mind, it really does, because like all the other previous variants, have been okay. It's just this one here, Deadpool is just, it's not even like, I don't know if like some of the stuff is in as a joke. I don't know. We all kind of came to the conclusion as a community that it doesn't feel like it's been properly tested, or at least kind of like boundaries of using hashtag mercenary champions means anything. And that's the point to kind of say. It's like, yeah, there are champions and more champions to come to light you can use to take down Venompool as a final boss. But Deadpool X-Force is scuffed. We all know that. But yeah, it's like massive L for Kabam. Also, very weird things. Like today, I've just found out that they've just released in the last 7 hours how like the side event works. So I don't know why there's kind of like a delay with getting this out. So yeah, the lovely Kabam by the way. But look, let's get down to business. Okay, so I saw today that so funny enough, shout out to Wirham, if you remember, Wirham, the Summoners Showdown finalist person. That was there. He posted this, which showcases. I'll put a link to this channel in the description down below. But yeah, showcasing that Yellow Jacket can actually do the job. Yeah, I'm equally surprised as many others. There is a process to doing that. And that's just the thing, right? Okay, we want to find out what the update is, and we'll get down to the update in a minute. But it's definitely looking at other champion options to take stuff down. That looks like a passive there, so that means that this is the Magneto weapon. Magneto House of X White Mags is there pre-fight and makes it much easier, but it's doable without. So yeah, when it comes to like reversing the regen, that's kind of the process with it. There's a lot of holding and waiting. It's just not fully for me. I'm more of a kind of on the front foot type of fighter, but each to their own. Because if it's considered stupid, but it works, as I said, it's not stupid. So yeah, shout out to Wirham there on kind of like the work there. So he just definitely gets that fight down. So yeah, not been a great variant, has it? Not been a good variant at all. So whilst I've been asleep or trying to sleep, this honestly is just being in my mind. As I'm kind of trying to get up to sleep, I'm just thinking to myself like, what's going on with this game? What is going on with Kabam? They're just taking so many L's. How can a games company take so many L's and still do all right? That's another thing. You look at Marvel Future Revolution, and they kind of like, when they take an L, it kind of like shoots down with like not being popular, and then shoots back up again, shoots down, up, down, up, down, up, down. With MCOC, it's just like I don't know. I think a lot of us are just so entrenched and in deep now. It's like we look at the situation and go, "Oh, another day. What to expect?" But yeah, there are some really cool things with the variant this month, but also there's kind of like this time. There's a lot of scuffy things with this variant. But let's get down to business. Okay, business first, and let's talk about the Deadpool fight. Right, so Deadpool X-Force was something that was raised yesterday. We did talk about that briefly, and it's something that Kabam are being made aware of. As I said yesterday, my own kind of response with Kabam was something like, oh, they weren't sure that this is under old wording or something, and they were equally confused as to whether or not it's affected 2 bars of power, and the third one was meant to be you still ate the SP3, which only kind of puts a power control option as being the only means of taking this down, which I think Nebula is one of them, and there's probably like something else that I've probably missed with it. And Kabam, like I've said, like, hey everyone, we've alerted the rest of the team so they can take a look into what's happening here. We'll let you know as soon as possible we have an update to it. So I can imagine like when eventually there's an update. By the way, it's Remembrance Day, so it does mean that this could mean I don't know, like when in Britain when we do Remembrance Day, we will stop at 11 a.m. and kind of like do a minute silence, but we then continue on. Maybe there's a keep calm and carry on British spirit that we have, but maybe other countries celebrate the glorious dead in kind of like a different way. So who am I to kind of say otherwise? But that needs to be looked at, and there's no update on that one as far. Kabam Mike has updated the Venompool fight information, which is as follows. So there's three things to kind of read out of importance. So first of all, in response to how's it possible that nobody at Kabam obviously knows this, but anyway, whatever. Because I'm 2 quests away and don't have time to do them right now because I want to get the information needed to help resolve the issue that players are having, I'm not an expert on every piece of content that is released, but the people in this thread are the ones affected, so they have the insights that I lack. It's a fair point. So all the information is being fed to him at that point to kind of say like, okay, well, here you go. By the way, if anybody's kind of wondering like, oh, CCP must have kind of been able to kind of like road test this before. No, this just went live to everybody. And I'm sure that if we had the time, that I'm sure that we kind of would have kind of like done it if we were allowed it, but we're not. It's very restrictive what we're allowed to know, not know. But look, moving on. In response to, you answered this one, but not exactly. How the fight's not endgame content after all. Kabam to say back issues is no longer endgame content. I think this is just an oversight based on Kabam. Not, as I've always said, I don't think Kabam know who this content is aimed at, because at times 1 month can feel like it's aimed at people that are cavalier, that have just become cavalier and are looking to strengthen and bring their roster sideways to build more 5 stars of strength to help out in various different bits of content, especially to do things like Act 6, Act 7, and monthly content and monthly Cavalier difficulty. But then at times it kind of loses its kind of focus on what it's intended for. There's just some weird paths that just need to be a unit sump or a resource sump. And that is, it's things like having Terex on certain lanes, having magic with limbo on certain bits as well. There's a fine line between like what Kabam are up to and how they kind of like focus that content. It's kind of lost, in my opinion, it's lost its way since probably variant 4, and has kind of like had one variant that's been good and then another variant that's been again good. It's not been something that say it's had something of a fun nature to it. Like this month, this variant would have been great to do it just on 3 stars only, or have that kind of 3-star mentality. The reason being, most players will have those hashtag mercenaries at 3-star. Granted, the last fight is bugged, and the Deadpool X-Force fight seems bugged as well. But regardless of that, taken out of the picture, is if it was a case that you were using your 3 stars, everybody, not everybody, but a large quantity of people would have those champions at 3-star. Also, the resource wouldn't feel so much of a spend if players are then going to rank up those champions. You kind of look at here, like, we'll do hashtag mercenary. But I'm sure that a lot of players, if you kind of go to your tags and put in, mercenary, you'll find that you'll have a lot of these champions. Because Deadpool, standard Deadpool, OG Deadpool, maybe players have this, maybe they don't, and it's a great asset. But as well, at the same time, I'm sure players have a lot more 3 stars, even 2 stars. And maybe that would have been a better thing to do, of make this very much kind of like 4s, 3s, and 2s. Because players would have them more easily to grab, those hashtag mercenaries. In any case, I digress. So anyway, that aspect of the fight has been raised as well. We're not likely to hear back tomorrow. It's Remembrance Day on Friday, but we'll be sure to keep all informed on the intent of the fight and if there will be any changes made as we find out more. Okay, so that's one thing. But then Kabam Mike does go further to say, I spoke too soon. The game team is looking into changes for this fight. I don't have more information than just yet. But we're hoping to get something out by the end of the day on Friday or early next week. Stay tuned. So that is good news. Kabam are going to be changing the fights. Or the fight, not the variant, but the fight. Which, look, is good. It means that you don't have to rely on one specific option of cheese or one specific option of interaction. that's the thing. The Deadpool X-Force fight needs to be looked into, but also, yeah, the Venompool fight needs to be looked into as a matter of priority. So that's good news. I think I will be coming back to stream that today. I'll be doing some more variant. I think my plan is to do this in clumps. Okay, so not the Nutty Professor, the clumps, not the sequel to it. But I'll definitely be doing these two fights, the Frackenpool and the BFF. I'll be definitely doing them. And also I'll be doing a She-Hulk one. And I'll be leaving, and I would recommend to everybody, is to maybe leave the problematic ones, which is Deadpool X-Force and Venompool, and just do some of the others, especially while you wait for those. And then we'll revisit the fight, and I'll do a completion guide. Just very disappointing. I am updating my little kind of like prep sheet completion guide thing, but it's gonna get a case of like it's bad when it's all done. Bit of a sour taste in the mouth for the community at the moment, and it is kind of like, well, it's worth fact, you know, that's a fact this time. But yeah, that's been a video. Thank you very much for watching, and more updates I'm sure to come. Make sure to check out some other content located on screen right now, and should be doing a little chilled crystal opening a little bit later on today, so look out for that one as well. And then finishing off with maybe some more variant 8 content, or kind of moving on to some other stuff. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.